Do you want to pass them down, or?
Yeah,
Pass them down, because I'll just eat them all.
Do you people want a cookie?
I'll set, thank you.
You sure?
I just,
I'll eat
I can't believe I can't remember her name. What's her
I
name?
had my ice cream for today already.
Thank you, Jen. Good evening, everyone. At this time, I'm going to officially open the July 21st Planning Board meeting for Town of Southampton. It's televised, as you can see, on Charter Channel 191. And all members are present with the exception of Paul Fergal, who's on vacation. And I'd like to welcome our newest board member, who was recently elected, Sarah Stein. Welcome, and thank you for your service to the town.
Thank you.
And since we haven't met in person since he was elected, I'd like to welcome Dan LaValle to the meeting room officially. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, sir. Nice to meet you all in person, not on Zoom.
You know, Joy is our select board person.
Yeah, Joy, yeah. Congratulations. Now we're going to start with the first agenda item is a public hearing on a residential stormwater application for 83 to 85 Valley Road, which was submitted by Ryan and Caitlin. Is it Caitlin or Koshlin? Caitlin Nolf. And the legal ad was published in the Daily Hampshire Gazette on July 6th and July 12th. And the application has been filed. The permit check has been submitted along with the check for the legal cost of the ad. And here to present for the applicant is Mark Reed from Heritage Surveys and
yes,
Engineering.
right.
By the way, just to confirm, I personally mailed the abutters notices that were, what the list was submitted to me, and I personally put them in the mail.
Evening. Move this over just a touch. Stand at the podium. So you can see it on TV. So good evening. My name's Mark Reed from Heritage Land Surveying and Engineering here in Southampton. As Paul mentioned, we're representing the Nolfs on a stormwater permit application. The Nolfs are planning on building a single-family house at 183 to 185 Valley Road here in Southampton. The reason we're here tonight is, and I got a couple of pictures that I'd like to pass around of the property. So the property is a very large 10-acre piece of property, of which most of the front of the property is a hayfield. And I got some pictures that I took of the property. So
that tiny map. Mind if I look at this
where
closer?
they're going to build on the property is within the hayfield, but yet further back on the lot from Valley Road, as you can see on the plan itself.
That's my favorite Bree barn. Is that a
Um,
different barn?
This is on Valley of the... Is that barn the one on Route 10? No.
No, that's the one on Valley Road. That's the abutter to the east. Actually, the barn that you're seeing in that picture is located, there's a vacant parcel directly to the east, known as parcel 5, and this barn is further to the east. This is
Do you see the barn on there?
parcel of land that was subdivided, I forget how many, a couple of years ago. It was formerly owned by Jim and Eugene LeBrie.
Excuse me, Mark. For reference, where would we see this barn? Is in the picture?
So the barn itself is not on the property.
It's far away enough. Okay, thank
So
you.
there's a vacant lot,
Yep.
and the barn is over here.
Okay, thanks.
The
Oh, the other house is.
utility pole that you see in the picture
Yep.
is this utility pole right here. So just
Oh,
to
there
the
it is.
east side of that utility pole shown in the pictures is where the driveway would come in to the house. So I tried to get a couple shots of that utility pole in there for your reference. So as you can see on the plan, to comply with Title V and, which is the sanitary code for a septic system on the property, it requires some fill material be brought in to maintain the separation of 4 feet from the seasonal high groundwater to the bottom of proposed leach field. So this plan represents that grading for not only the sewage disposal system, which is behind the house, but facilitate the house itself and the driveway going into the property. So the plan shows that we will install fiber log barriers around the back end of the property, all the way from this area here, all the way around to this area to protect it. The topography, this is on higher hillside, drops down and starts to level off into the field.
The sheet flow is going this way.
There's about a 15-foot difference in elevation from tree line on the west side of the property down to the lower section of the property itself.
Are you planning on maintaining as much of this grass as possible?
Yes,
Okay, great.
yep. Currently gets hayed.
Yeah.
They want to maintain that process. The rest of the property to the south is going to be used farming. Yeah, cows and, yeah, llamas. Probably. Yeah, yeah. They currently have, Pat's parents have llamas at the corner of Valley Road and College Highway. So we'll be trying to maintain that aspect of it to continue farming the property.
No. All right, we'll take care, we'll talk to you later. Yeah, good luck, yeah.
But as you can see with the amount of grading and the location of the house relative to the system, we're tripping that over 40,000 square feet. So that's, I can answer any questions that the board may have.
Questions from the board about,
Did you remember the email that Paul Fergal sent out? Do you remember what date that was?
I have it right here, the copy of what he sent.
So it was,
Paul Fergal, I asked to look at this in his absence and comment, and his only 2 comments, Mark, were a tracking pad at the end of the driveway there during construction.
Mm-hmm.
And also, he's requesting, he thinks the fiber logs should be extended all the way over to the construction line limit.
I don't know if you've seen this picture.
Here's where he,
This
if
is
you
from
wanna,
his email.
Oh,
just got it.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know you were gonna.
No, I got it, it's fine.
I try to be helpful.
Oh, that's good. He drew a line, I don't think it quite goes down all the way to the road, but it's over where, you see it anyway on
yes,
his drawing.
that's fine. We can gladly add the stone tracking pad at the driveway entrance and extend the fiber logs closer to Valley Road. That's not a problem at all.
So I guess in reviewing that and thinking about a trackpad, is best practice to ensure that the trucks leaving and entering the property use that track pad, right? So
Correct.
having some type of barrier along the roadway so they're not entering from other places but that track pad. So I guess my question for the board to consider is, my biggest concern is always for any runoff onto the roadway. So perhaps a silt fence or a sock along the roadway, although the grading does tend to go away from the road.
Going
Right.
down,
It's
right?
going south
Right.
by the look.
Actually, the stormwater that falls on the roadway
Ends
dumps
up in
onto
the
the
field.
property.
Yeah,
So the roadway is higher than the property itself.
Right.
And I know the Knolls want to maintain as much of the lawn area as they can.
so that's gonna handle a
So
lot
that's
of-
going to handle it, because anything they do to disturb those soils, they're going to have to replace, and it's going to be
Right, okay.
cost,
So
more
that-
cost to them.
Now I understand the bigger picture of maintaining the grass.
Yeah, right.
Structure, that it makes much more sense
Right.
not to,
Right. And most of the time, over farm fields and grass, trucks don't want to drive on that.
right, there, yeah.
Because they're going to settle. They're going to want to go on a good gravel base.
So really, the grass is acting like that barrier in this
Yeah.
case.
Right.
I accept
Correct.
that answer.
So in terms of the distance and the square footage, we don't have any questions about the amount of disturbance. It meets the criteria for coming for the stormwater approval, and
You asking for any waivers, Mark, other than
The standard,
residential, typically, we don't get peer review on anyway. but-
correct. Just those waivers, Paul, yes.
Sarah,
Did
any questions from your,
No, not right now. I think
Okay.
that's all
I had another one.
Sure.
So what length were you planning, or, I know we just suggested a track pad, but typical 50 feet?
50 feet.
Yep.
Normally, it's 12 to 15 feet in width.
Yep.
And 50 feet in length, yes.
Yep.
Standard stone track.
Very good.
What'll the construction duration be?
The duration, I would probably hope, 8 months?
Yeah.
Thereabouts, Unfortunately, today it was still COVID and getting out of it. Supply of building materials has been a big issue. So that's held up some people because they can't get windows, for instance, or doors. But, typically it's, by the time you dig the foundation, build the house, do the site work, install the septic system, you're probably looking at 8 months.
Okay, I was just thinking in terms of the tractor pad, if it was gonna sit over the winter, it would have to be
Yeah,
upgraded.
right. Yeah, they'll have to keep it maintained. They would like to start as soon as they can get all their permits in hand. And get the foundation in so that they can, before inclement weather comes, so they can start framing the house and working inside during the colder months.
One of the other questions I had was, what about the inspection maintenance plan? Is that something that is included in this work, or?
there's no retention pond
Right, there's
to
no,
have any maintenance on, Dan.
right.
That box is not checked,
No.
so we
Correct.
don't need to.
It's a single-family house lot that typically doesn't have a stormwater feature to it like a commercial.
It's just during the development is the only
Correct,
Right.
period in which any
Right.
monitoring would need to occur.
yes. Yeah, we've got a couple of notes on the plan relative to, the fiber log installation and maintaining it.
Any other questions? Cindy, Sarah, Dan, any other questions? It's pretty straightforward. So can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I move to close the public hearing.
Second?
Can I keep this and we'll make sure we'll
Yeah.
revise the plan?
I have one too, but yeah, that's all right, Dan, thank you.
Came from the same email, so.
Motion was made and seconded to close the public hearing. Any other further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
So we would be glad to make the modifications to the plan, Paul, and send the,
Now I'll do that, Mark, with the motion to approve the stormwater application from Ryan and Caitlin Knopf with the conditions that a tracking pad be included and also to extend the fiber logs toward Valley Road. Do I have a motion? Well, I guess I made the motion, didn't I? I'll make the motion.
Can you add the length of the tracking pad?
What's that?
Just saying, including.
50
say-
feet?
Yeah, just that
Okay.
detail. Although you did say it verbally, just.
sure.
So I did the motion, I guess. Do I have a
I
second?
second it.
Motion's made and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Mark.
Okay, thank you very much.
And to the notes, good luck.
Luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
We'll be up to feed the llamas
Are
our
you-
Christmas trees.
Are you seriously gonna have llamas? Is that what your thought is? You're gonna,
Yeah, so we got a couple llamas that'll come down their land, but I'll raise these cows.
well, I think that's wonderful. I love the
Yeah.
idea of
It's a nice
giving the
setting for
agricultural
it.
feel to our community.
I grew up on a farm, so we'll keep it going.
Good for you.
Excellent.
Yeah, he born and raised here in Southampton.
Oh, so you're well-known, okay.
Yeah.
I came from Rhode Island, so.
Oh,
Well, good. Welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. Great, thank you.
Is he presenting this, you know? Is that,
they want their pictures.
is Mark presenting that one?
Yeah, he's got that, and
Just saying
then
goodbye to-
he's got all three of them in,
Okay,
as
all right.
a matter of fact.
Take care.
Thank you, guys.
Night.
Thank you, good night. The phone call I received today, I apologize, but that was Larry Smith. He had an emergency with his wife that he was on his way to the hospital, so he will not be joining us this evening. Wish him well.
Keep us informed, if you will, how she's doing.
All right, next, I gotta get some more plans out here, so we'll wrap this one up. The next one, Mark, is for David and Lisa York,
I don't know if Paul wants to keep
correct,
those.
yeah?
Yeah, those are, you can keep those
I
photos.
don't know if Paul wants to keep those for minutes, yeah.
I can break them.
You want these with the other one to keep?
Now, for your benefit, A&R has really three major criteria. That it's a legal lot, or if someone is just, most cases we're creating a new lot. That it's legal, that it's on a maintained road, and it has emergency vehicle access. In this case, I think all they're doing here is just adding a parcel of another lot.
This is what
that's
Keith
what
Block
Mark
told me, if I ever want, you ever want to learn all the details about A&Rs, the A&R handbook.
Cindy, the
Is
only
it
time I
there?
ever see these is at Christmas time.
But, yeah, that's, if you want to fall asleep tonight, go ahead and read this.
I've never seen that. I know he said that
Yeah.
out loud, and so. You guys know about it.
I'll add it to the list.
It's good.
So we have an
Good
A and R for
Definitely more than you need to know.
David and Lisa York. It's on the corner of Maple Street and Crooked Ledge. Once again, Mark Reed
Not
from
David and
Heritage
Lisa,
is here to
William and
present.
Andrea. Those are a different one.
Yeah, it's all part of the York family, so it's,
I wrote the sellers.
yeah.
Oh, I see, okay.
So the parcel of land is owned by William, Andrea York, and Lisa and David York.
I got you.
So,
And they're
so what they're
selling it
doing,
to David and Lisa, sorry.
what they're doing is they're taking
It's here. Oh, there's the road.
pretty much a triangular piece of land,
Little pie shape here.
little pie shape, which is 13,419 square feet, out of a larger piece of property that is owned jointly by them all, and conveying that 13,419 square foot piece to Lisa and David's parcel where their house exists. So they're They own,
So parcel A right now is part of this one,
Yep.
and is becoming part of
right,
81.
they own all of this now,
Maple.
so they're taking this little triangular piece and adding it to their existing house. Right,
And this.
which is located off Fulmer Road, I mean,
Maple Street.
Maple Street.
What's that, a trail?
No, it's a real road. I didn't know we lived there, now I know.
What's the name of the road?
So,
Fontaine. That's a public road,
no,
Fontaine.
it's not.
It's not a
It's
public
not,
road.
it's shown on a USGS map as a public way. It's
Oh,
a private way.
yeah,
Dugway Road.
Is that
and
where-
so we,
Is that where George LeBrie lives up there? On Fontaine?
no, actually, that's,
Way up.
he's way up on
Crooked
Fulmer
Ledge.
Road.
They have access from, where do they get, Maple
Okay,
Street?
keep talking,
Yeah.
sir.
So,
Okay.
years ago, I'm talking probably 50 years ago, the Fontaines used to live right here in an old farmhouse
okay,
on what is now Maple Street.
yeah.
And Maple Street wasn't as improved as it is
Oh,
today.
it's really improved now, yeah.
And really, hopefully it's still there after all the rain.
Yeah.
So they call this Fontaine Road, that came off of Crooked Ledge Road to get to their house.
Okay.
Um,
So is there like a little farm here with some,
Yes, so
The
the
farm animals?
little farm is
oh,
right
it's
here.
there, okay, yeah.
Yep, that's
Because I've
Crevier.
walked up, I know, yeah, the Crevier's?
Crevier.
Oh, so I've
Yeah.
walked up the Maple and
Yep.
taken a left on Fontaine, and
Yep.
it's lovely. It's
Yeah,
pretty up there.
yeah, Pat,
Patrice.
Crevier, Patrice,
Yes,
yeah,
I know her,
yeah.
yeah,
So
okay.
that's that little farm where they have some
Okay.
horses.
Gotcha.
Right.
Any questions from the board? It seems fairly straightforward. It's not a new lot, it's just a pie shape coming off of an existing lot to be conveyed to another.
So it's not a case of needing to meet some kind of
No,
square
there's-
footage criteria?
No, because there's nothing
Okay.
being built on it, it doesn't meet any of the requirements, it's just being added, make their lot
So
bigger.
it makes sense to,
Yeah.
kind of have this triangular piece go with their house lot,
Sure,
Especially when
Rather
it's across
than-
the road there.
Yeah,
sure.
Gotcha.
Fontaine Road.
okay,
so, and, in this case, excuse me, there's no filing fee, because we're not creating a new building lot.
Correct.
okay. But you do need this, the planning board to sign off to say we approve this
Correct.
conveyance?
13,000 square foot.
Yep.
Correct.
Any other questions from the board?
No questions, no
Do we have a-
comments?
Do we have a motion to approve the A and R for David and Lisa York?
I move to approve the A and R as presented to David and Lisa York.
Do we have a second?
I second.
Motion's been made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
What's your-
I didn't bring a Mylar, no. Do you have one of those?
All that's
I mean,
needed
not Mylar, the
is I'm just
Sharpies.
gonna sign it because I have the authority of the board, so not everybody has to sign
Sorry, I didn't bring one.
all these. How many copies do you need?
Just one.
Right. Today is the 21st, correct? You don't have a Sharpie on your mark, do you?
No, I don't, yeah,
It's usually Keith
You
that
got it.
has it.
all right.
Do you know, it's like a Sharpie pen to write on these. We can't
The
do it.
Yeah, the Mylar.
So you want one copy, Mark?
Yes, that's plenty, Paul.
Just didn't bring one.
I think there's 3 or 4 extras for you for
Yes.
the other boards.
Yeah.
So you don't need signatures from us, huh? This
No,
time?
because remember.
Yeah, I
we
do
signed
remember, yeah.
through all this with
Yeah.
one signature. You can if you want.
That's all right. We voted every other kind of Paul to be
You need
the
a-
signatory for.
You need any
as
copies of the
opposed to
Form
getting
A
all
or
of
not?
our signatures.
Don't have that.
All right, so there's one.
Take that one.
Those, I need all the extras because I've got to pass them out to the different boards. Well, we'll get another one here for you. And this is, once again, it's not a, this is not, it's not meant to be a building lot either, it's a conveyance of a
Oh,
a parcel to an existing landowner.
Okay.
So this is for Connecticut Valley Biological Supply at 86 Valley Road. And once again, Mark Reed from Heritage Surveys and Engineering will present.
Sure. So again, this is across the street from the Knopf's property that we were just talking about. And the Connecticut Valley Biological is going to convey the parcel 1, which is 1.3 acres of land and has 100 feet of frontage to the LaBreeze, which they live to the west of this piece of property, Thomas and Corinne LaBreeze. And they're going to incorporate it to their land and make it their land bigger. It's not a building lot because it doesn't have over 140 feet of frontage.
There's no
Or just additional land that they would like to add to the LaBreeze property that abut the property owned by Connecticut Valley Biological.
Where's note
What,
two?
what's their main,
No,
line of
where's it
work,
called?
biological?
Here.
Oh, I think it's just.
Oh,
a reference.
For reference.
Lore. Yeah. Yeah, Lore. Robert and his wife's name is,
What's their
What's the
main
business?
business?
well, they used to, and the business is really closed and the property is being sold. But they used to do experimental work on, working with schools and other agencies for bugs and rodents for experimental work on,
Like
And they-
medical experiments?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
really?
yeah,
Like,
yeah. And they used to
Making
do that
cosmetics?
for many, many years in Southampton here. No one really knew
Yeah.
that they really existed, but they
You
would,
said it's closed, it's not
yeah,
operational?
it's closed and they're in the process of
So this
cleaning
will,
out the area. And-
So I am a little confused. So this picture,
Yep,
is this like upside down? Where's College Highway on this? On this
Valley
map?
Road.
so College Highway would be over here at the
Way
end of
over
the.
there,
Yep.
okay.
So here's College
Yeah,
Highway. This is all the buildings associated with Connecticut Biological.
Tree in the
oh,
back.
okay,
This is the no piece right across the street.
Yeah, yeah.
We just talked about, so this is the 100-foot.
yeah. So, we can do this later, or something?
Yep. Yeah,
Okay.
that parcel, the remaining land is gonna be sold.
Okay. And so the LaBreeze live here,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
and this is where they're
Their
building, a
facility.
group home.
Correct.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a single-family house here, and then the group home at the corner.
Okay.
Mark, it looks like it's definitely big enough looking at the locus, but what's the remaining acreage of this lot after the transfer?
It's more than the minimum of 40,000 square feet. I would have to, I didn't bring that plan.
Is this building,
because they
does it go all the way
can't,
down to
because they
that?
can't subdivide and make their lot an illegal lot.
Right,
Right, that's what I was just asking.
right. I don't have that answer for you, Sarah, because
I mean,
it's large and
yeah, it was
Yeah.
more just a confirmation,
Yeah.
since we don't have that laid out,
I
but.
don't remember exactly how many acres that
All
was.
those plans go-
To be honest with you, I'm guessing, because,
We got the note.
yeah, right, yeah, we get the note on it.
That's fine, as long
I mean,
as
if
that's
this
a
is an
confirmation
acre,
there.
this is
I wonder
probably,
how big this,
Oh, so it doesn't
It's-
include this building or whatever, so yeah,
Right.
you're,
this
Okay,
right.
that's fine.
here.
That's what
I
you.
should have brought
She's
the,
asking,
that plan that
Well, you got
references.
431 feet of frontage.
Yeah.
That's about 80, it's probably more than that. Any other questions from the board on this?
no questions or comments?
How about a motion?
I motion to approve the A and R as presented.
Motion made by Sarah, do I have a second?
I second.
Motion made by Sarah, second by Cindy, all in favor?
Aye.
All right, let me sign this one.
We need to close the public hearing.
What's that?
We need to close the public
Oh,
hearing.
no, these aren't public hearings.
But the first one, we need to close.
Hey, you made the motion. I made the motion. Made by Cindy and
Am I?
seconded by
Is this the
Dan.
planning board meeting tonight? This is where I am?
Do we need to separate you two?
He doesn't know what meeting she's at. Which committee she's on? She got,
It's bad, it's very
she's got
bad.
a lot of hats,
Got a little too many fingers in the pot,
don't you think?
that's what they're telling me.
All right, Mark, here you go.
So, yeah,
Two, right?
yes, please.
I could have sworn if you had, which ones have you got down there?
We only got one, I passed one back
I just
to
gave it to
Cindy.
you. That's in your hands.
We have more of these ones for the
You did?
the York property.
Yeah. We've given you. Oh, no, we've given you extra copies.
What happened?
The one thing you gave me is.
We didn't, save a lot of
Yeah,
paper.
I hope
during
that's what I
Zoom.
just folded. But then you and I were looking at,
I've got one extra copy here, Paul, if you want it. If you, just to make sure you have it.
Here's this copy, in case you want it.
that's,
Oh, I'm sorry.
is this Connecticut?
This one we just did.
Yeah, no, I'm looking for
Oh, I see what you're looking for.
the
yeah.
other one, yeah.
Is there one under here?
All right, that would help.
And let me know if you need more, and I'll just run them off. Is there,
See, I've got assessors and
you need about 3, right?
building, I need one, and then I need one from my file.
And you're still giving them to the Conservation Commission?
Yep.
Okay, so that's 4,
Three,
3.
and just leave them here in my box, or
Okay.
either that, or I can swing by and pick them up.
Okay, so how many do you have now? So you need
I've got, what am I talking about? If I've got 2 and I need 3, so I only need 2 more.
2 more?
Yeah.
Okay, we can do that. Good. Alrighty, thank you very much.
Thanks, Mark.
Mark, you have to take a cookie.
Cookie?
No.
Good.
Very good, thank you.
Before the meeting, I ate
Thank you, very good.
4 ears of corn.
Ooh.
Hadley, fresh.
Yeah.
Ooh,
Stuff.
the
My
best.
wife, every Wednesday, goes over and sees her sister in Hadley, and she brought home fresh Hadley corn. It was so good. I had it all. Oh, I'm full.
That's why you're wearing your Boston's
Yeah, right.
t-shirt.
I'm surprised it tastes that good given all the rain.
Yeah, I was too,
You know?
but it was out of this world,
Good, let's get some.
so, yes. All right, good night.
Good night, Mark. Thank you. So leave them at the office and I'll pick them up.
All right, yeah, I can have Lisa make them up tomorrow. Just 2 more. And you got plenty of Connecticut Valley?
Oh, yeah, that I got enough of.
Okay.
Thanks. All right, so unfortunately, with Larry having an emergency, it's too bad. He was on his way out the door and his wife had an issue, so we're gonna have to delay that till our next meeting, the zoning bylaw regs. I have been asked, oh, by the way, between the last time we met on Zoom and tonight, there were 3 building permits that came in, and they were all well under the 40,000 square feet, so I signed off on them. And one was on, there was actually 2, one for 73 Fulmer and one for 75 Fulmer, and then one for 37 Pequot Road. Now that we have, the elections have passed, Lucy Dalton, the town clerk, asked me to go over the election of officers for the upcoming year and also the committee appointments. So with the election of officers, we're looking for nominations for chairman, chairperson.
I nominate Paul Demon.
I
as
second that
chairperson of
nomination.
Why?
the planning board. Well, it's very clear that you know what you're doing.
Absolutely.
That is the main criteria.
You do a great
That's-
job.
That's flattering, thank you very
And
much.
beyond
but,
that, you run a good meeting. That is very true. You keep people in order and you keep all this stuff in order.
Some of these days, or some of these years, it's gonna have to change.
Well, we're getting Dan ready, he's next, that's.
Before I
me.
resign or retire,
Is that okay?
Yeah, shouldn't we ask him if it's okay?
Do I hear a second for the nomination?
I definitely second, it. Absolutely. Is
All right.
there more than second? Can I third it?
so all in favor of that?
Aye.
Now, vice chair is currently Paul Fergal. Would you like to change that at all?
Have you spoken to Paul?
Yes,
Is he interested in it?
yeah.
I would like to nominate Paul Fergal as vice chair.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I am the recording secretary and have been for a while. If someone, and you can think about it, if someone would like to take minutes at some point, then keep it in mind. I don't mind doing it. I'm not terribly long in my
They bumped me because mine were too long.
Ah,
All right?
minutes, but since they're recorded and taped and all this now,
yeah.
we get the gist of it. So if somebody else would like to come forward on that. The only thing I would like help with, because I'm not as tech savvy as you younger people here, is everything on the laptop is naturally that comes through the email, and all the files for like the A&Rs, the stormwater subdivisions, whatever, they're coming through electronically. So typically we can put them up there on the board, but I'm sure you guys probably know how to do that. So if someone would like to handle that going forward, just to maneuver it as it goes along and turn the pages or whatever, then that would be a help. But I'm not adverse to learning how to do it, but
Cindy, is that your phone nominating you? Is that what noises?
it's my,
I don't mind doing that, bringing my laptop and pulling them off and,
you
Just
can,
use their laptop.
oh,
this is the boards.
okay, that's
we
fine.
have. And it's all up to date. We got a carbide backup and,
Paul, if I log on there after, can I play around with the Gmail?
yeah, I would like you to do that before you leave. yeah.
Okay.
It's funny, Dan, you're getting the planning board emails, right?
Yes.
Okay, so when I went in to put Sarah's name in on the forwarding, I did so, and then it said, I didn't hear from you saying you weren't getting them. So I go in to do Sarah's, and it said, they send her the notice, and then there's a box that says, looking for a code. All right, so after you sent that to me the other day, I went back in, now the box for the code isn't there that I can find.
I wonder if, see, it said I clicked the link, and then when it wasn't working, in the email it said, if clicking the link doesn't work, try emailing this code to the email address. So that's what I did. Maybe I had
I got the
waited
confirmation
too long.
code.
Yeah, I
was like,
figured everybody.
what is this? So maybe that means you're in the system.
I haven't been getting them after that.
It hasn't
though,
been
so-
getting them though, but I'm saying the box was there, and I said, well, I'll wait till she sends me the code, so then I went back in, and there's no box now to type in your, whatever, so.
Yeah,
have you
maybe I'll
look at
just,
it.
we could undo it and redo it and try and just, do the whole thing.
Good.
Right here in 10 minutes or whatever.
Continuing on then, so, town clerk is also trying to verify the committee appointments. You still doing PVPC, Dan?
I am. I would say that I don't find it very valuable myself attending them, like in terms of the interests of Southampton and
Right.
what so if someone else feels that they would be more interested in attending them, I'm more than welcome to have someone else do it because I just don't see the.
Let me tell you how I used to do it when I was the appointee years ago. I would look at the agenda,
Yeah.
and if it was something that I thought would be interesting for us to know, or, we could use, or valuable, I would go to the meeting, but I didn't go to all the meetings,
Okay.
because it was all agenda related.
Well, that's fair enough. I mean, I'll do that and I'll report on that.
And I think the
If
last
someone
one I
else
went
was
on, to
think-
be quite honest with you, was marijuana, but we needed to know about that
True.
because it was coming up, pretty soon for us to have to deal with marijuana, so I attended some of the meetings on that. But outside of that, I'll just look it over and you be the judge.
Okay, fair enough.
So Cindy, you're a rep to the,
Open Space Committee,
PVP, no, not PV, CPC,
CPC, and,
open space, right?
isn't there another one?
It seems to me there is, but,
Well, Master Plan Implementation Committee, which is in a little bit of a hold pattern right now, but I'd still like to maintain that when it gets activated again.
so it's open space, MPIC,
Yeah, those are the three.
and I don't think we're asked to be on anything else. Right now, and also doing the
Conservation Commission.
affordable housing.
Oh, right, yes, I'm doing the,
Have you
yes.
guys met yet?
Yeah, we had one meeting and you're on it as well, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Should-
no, that's
I should
fine.
mention that.
Good, that's good, Sarah, thank you.
Wait, you're on,
We're doing the, what was, MHP, is that what it's called?
It's the
It's
housing
a-
production plan.
Yeah.
the housing production, okay.
I was speaking with our new select board chairperson, Chris Falls, earlier today, and while I can't make any announcements, I know in terms of the master plan and the implementation, maybe there'll be some additional ad hoc committees that they'll be looking for some expert representation on, given what's in the master plan that needs to be done. So I'm looking at you, Sarah, there might be something there. I prefer to wait till it's announced in the select board before we say specifically, but they're pretty technical and you might be challenged by some of those things.
Yeah, I would definitely be interested.
So they'll be looking for a planning board rep on those things.
Okay. All right, so that is done.
Would you allow me to ask 2 questions that I think would help?
Let me just look at this, Dan, a second. Okay, go ahead.
Coming from also be on the Conservation Commission, long-term, I think it would be good to have a bridge between the 2 boards, because there is some overlap. So I don't know who,
And you're it.
well, I happen to be it because I am on the committee, but I'm kind of saying, like, if I wasn't on both committees, I see that having someone as a, what do we call it, representative between the 2 groups is something beneficial to the town. I don't know who establishes those relationships or decides those
Is that
things.
just your opinion, or is that the opinion of the committee?
That is just my opinion.
Okay,
I'm speaking as myself.
I'm not adverse to it, but it's kind of like we've got 2 separate things to
Yeah,
deal with. And then if there ever gets to a situation, we could always have a joint meeting
yeah,
between the 2 committees if there was something that somebody didn't want to, like to streamline the process, rather than have 2 separate meetings, we could have one together if necessary.
I think that came up with a particular landowner up on High Street that, remember we had a joint meeting one time because the
Absolutely.
issues kind of crossed a little bit in between Planning Board and Conservation Commission.
Well, if you-
And I also have seen the chairperson of the Conservation Commission here, not all the time, but she
Marla,
comes.
yeah, and Marla's pretty good about communicating with me about stuff.
well, if you don't know me by now, I love to give suggestions, so
That's fine.
just take them as a suggestion and just a thought.
That's fine.
I will say, Dan, that it is not a coincidence that I'm the liaison to Planning Board and to Conservation Commission,
Ah.
Open Space and Housing Authority, because I think there's
Oh, I see.
intersection in between.
That makes sense.
all of
Good to know,
those.
yeah,
Strategically, people are thinking about that, yes.
Cool.
it's great. Congratulations, Joy, by the way, for making select board.
Thank you.
That's
I
great.
appreciate that.
I had a communication here, and I was hoping if Larry was here, I could probably run it by him, because I don't know the answers to it. But did you see the email I forwarded from Randall Kemp
Oh, no,
about the stormwater?
I'm not getting that one.
I can't remember if I forwarded it, but he sent it to me. I'll just read it, not line by line, but I asked him and Paul Fergal, naturally, for their input about the stormwater permit for the notes that were here. And he said thanks for sending him the plans, and while he doesn't have any pressing issues, he does have a question. He says, I think we need to get together as to what does and what does not constitute a slight increase in runoff. The spirit of the current bylaw, spirit of the current regs doesn't appear to be much different from the stormwater bylaw and regulations that just passed at town meeting. Runoff overland flow accumulates contaminants and suspended solids. The goal of the regulations and bylaws is to treat and/or infiltrate stormwater into the ground instead of running off into water bodies. I jotted down some quick math on the impervious surfaces on the NOPS plan, driveway and roof surface depicted on the site, and came up with roughly 7,700 square feet. A 1-inch storm generates approximately 62 gallons of runoff per 100 square feet. So the development of this lot, the house and the driveway, will generate 4,800 gallons of runoff per 1-inch rain event, a 9,600 gallon runoff per 2-inch rain event, and so on. And then he's got a question, is this a slight increase? Will enough of the site be vegetated lawn, and will that lawn be porous enough to absorb this runoff? I think we saw that being fields, in that case it is, and particularly because the property going toward the road was running uphill, not downhill. I do not know the answer to these questions, but I will ask our consultant for guidance in these matters once the fiscal '22 proposed budget is approved. If the planning board elicits any guidance, or there is anyone on the board with pertinent experience, please copy me on the response, as I am eager to learn how stringent we should be in interpreting these regulations. So, again, this is over my head when it comes to these type of calculations, but he is certainly concerned about.
So a slight increase, when we're talking about a slight increase in runoff, is it the difference between this home and nothing there? Or is it the difference between a 40,000 square foot lot home and a 60,000 square foot lot home?
I think that's probably what he's referring to, but in general, my sense is what you originally said. You're going from a site that has none to now all of a sudden you've got a lot.
Right, but if this house was on a 40,000 square foot lot, we wouldn't have any say in it, right? I mean, we would,
If it's under 40,000 square feet, the disturbance area.
right, is
Yeah.
small enough that they don't need a stormwater management plan.
Right.
I guess my question is just, is the wording, this, when we're talking about a slight increase, what are we talking about between, because really in the Nault's example, their driveway's longer. Their house is no bigger than an average house in Southampton on a slightly smaller lot. So it's a longer driveway. So are we just talking about that difference in driveway length in terms of the amount of runoff, or are we talking about the whole thing?
And do you have to factor in the fact that the driveway's up here and the property slopes down, so it doesn't slope into the road? It still slopes down into something that's still running into the earth, right?
Right, but running into the earth wouldn't be running into a water body. Running into the earth is what they're,
Ultimately running into a water body, yeah.
yeah, but if it's going to the groundwater first, it's, I think, less of a issue.
That's why I was hoping Larry was here. He might have, and I'm gonna forward this to him just to comment on anyway. And then again, forward that to Randall, so he might have some idea what.
It seemed his concern was more about the impervious surface and the collection of water on the impervious surface, right? So, like in your case, or in the situation you presented, having 60,000 square feet that's covered with grassland is actually a better scenario for absorption of that water. So,
Well, some of it's disturbed, but again, it's gonna be seeded over anyway, even what's disturbed and plantings or whatever else they're gonna do. But it's above me on all these
Yeah.
calcs. I have a warrant I need to have approved. VHB, John Furman's company, who's the peer reviewer doing the inspections over at Gill Farm. $473.04. That needs to be approved for payment. Do I have a motion?
Move to cover that, to approve that warrant for John Furman. VHB.
Second.
Second from Dan. All in favor?
Aye. And this is passed through, correct? These costs are passed through to the
Yeah,
developer.
what
so
happened
we're
with,
not paying for it.
what happened with both,
Okay.
what happened with both Fitch Farm and Gill Farm, after the subdivisions were approved, we then hired Sarah and Dan, VHB, to do the independent peer review on the subdivisions and all the different components of it. And John Furman's estimated time to do these inspections was like $5,200, which was paid in advance by both of these companies. So they're working it off right now. Let's see, so looks like it's almost toward completion. So if there's any money remaining, they get it refunded, and if you go over that, then they pay. Here, I'll send that down for everybody's signature. I gotta make up a new form, but I've got printed in your new names. I don't have anything else, I guess.
I have a couple questions.
So now we'll entertain any other reports or communications.
Yeah, okay, so first of all, I have a few questions. I think I know the answer to this. We don't have a wind energy bylaw, do we, in our town? We have a solar energy bylaw.
Correct.
Secondly, an email came from you via the town clerk's office last week, a week ago, last Wednesday, regarding a legal decision or a court case in Massachusetts, Stylier versus Zoning Board of Appeals of Linfield. And it was forwarded, and it appears that short-term rentals are not permissible under local zoning bylaws. Single-family home for short-term rentals are not permissible under local zoning bylaw. Did I understand this correctly?
So I read part of the case, and I think it was very specific for that town's bylaw, and the court suggested that towns review their own bylaws to see if they were either similarly situated or if there would be leeway to allow Airbnb. So that's actually kind of on my to-do list, is to review residential bylaws and compare the two.
Because I do get that question from friends. Can we do Airbnbs in town? Not only do I get the question, I believe it's happening.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
But do we need a bylaw? And if we don't have a bylaw, that sounds like it's like, if there's no law, then do it. Is that true?
I think it's based on the interpretation of, is the home like, you can have the long-term residential homes, you can lease them out, you can rent them out. But the short-term, it depends on the bylaw. So I have to find our
Yeah.
bylaw in regards to how residential homes are defined and look into that further and see if there is a definition. If there isn't a definition, I think that's open to interpretation. And if there is a very specific definition,
I think that'd be great if you could
It
find it.
seems to me, though, didn't that come up
Well,
in one of our
It did,
zoning
yeah.
things with Larry?
But it wasn't a whole home, it was like an accessory apartment.
No,
No?
I
It came up
thought,
with the whole
I
home?
thought Airbnbs were brought up. I thought it came up.
I don't remember that.
Well,
Personally,
anyway,
it may have, but I just don't
Okay, so
personally
what I
remember.
wanted to do was to do further research, because it's important, it is happening in town,
And-
whether or not it's
yeah.
publicized, but we should get clarification.
And is
and
it
when Larry Smith comes back to us, the next meeting in August, or the third week in August, I'm gonna ask him, Joy, because we've been revising the bylaws and we're up to section whatever. We already went by this section that should be Airbnb, and I'm gonna ask him, what his opinion is on it too.
And also, is it a zone-specific, you know, can it happen in residential village versus residential neighborhood versus,
Versus
Uh,
commercial
or does it have to be in a commercial neighborhood or not be in a commercial? Those are the kinds of questions, and it is gonna come up. And it's been brought to my attention in my involvement with the Open Space Committee that, you know, there are people that wanna maintain open spaces but need to have some income stream. And therefore, could they consider utilizing it for something like an Airbnb for maybe some portion of their house or something? So these are big questions that we need to find out the answers to, so that'd be good.
Did I hear you say, Joy, that was only, that decision was only pertinent to that town?
They said it was very specific to that bylaw, so they left it really up to other towns to do their own due diligence, with their own bylaws and to clarify it for themselves.
It's interesting the way this email was written, though, because it says, it doesn't say this is specific.
Did you get a copy of the decision?
Yeah, isn't it the PDF that was connected? There was a PDF on it.
Was it connected? I read the email.
Yeah, there's,
Oh, it was.
yeah,
Another thing that's related that
but it
I've
wasn't
seen
the
is,
decision, it was the KP Law summary, that's
Okay.
what it was. Sorry, yeah, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, another thing that is related that I've seen besides Airbnb is that people are allowing for rental for camping on properties.
Center, right, or?
Yeah, tenters. So
Yeah.
that's going to be, if we're addressing Airbnb, perhaps that's a subject to also address because,
Did I hear you say camping?
yeah, if people will rent out parts of their property for campers.
Has anybody got any little homes on their property? Like they had in
We have some
Hadley?
beautiful open spaces in our town, and,
It's something that people want to entertain.
well, I will not say who, but I do know of a beautiful spot, and this person wants to do that. You know, I'm not in a position to say it's the right or the wrong thing, it's not for me to tell them. But I think we need this clarified as we go forward, and also in terms of an income stream for some of these people that might wanna utilize their property for something to bring in some money.
I don't know if anybody's been following it, but in the Town Reminder and the Gazette, there's been a lot this past summer on affordable housing going on in Amherst and Easthampton about rewriting regs, and a lot of it is very interesting, and some of it could certainly apply to this town,
Yeah,
but I'm sure that's what Ken and
Yes.
his associate are doing with PBPC.
Right.
So why I was saying it was specific was because in the facts of this case, the plaintiff was using the family home for short-term rentals that was non-conforming to a bylaw that had been amended in 2016. So the bylaw had been amended in 2016, and they said that because of the amendment, the use of the house was non-conforming and it was not exempt from the new amendment. So that's why it's like very specific, and why you have to look at the towns need to look at their individual bylaws.
great. Definitely look at that, that'd be good. The next thing, bylaw related, sorry Larry is not here tonight, but some months ago, the question came up about having an alternate or multiple alternates position to the planning board. So if there was any problem with getting a quorum together, you could have alternate. And from what you understood and said to us was, we really need a bylaw for that purpose in order to have
That's
that
what-
happen.
That's what Ed told me.
And so we do, as far as I can tell from my research, our town has two boards/committees that have an alternate built in. One is the Ag Commission, and the other is the Council on Aging Board, and those are the only two currently. The Conservation Commission has an associate position, which is different. An alternate position gives the opportunity to vote. You need the alternate in order to
So what's
have
the
a quorum,
associate
and the
do?
associate does not vote.
What do they do?
They perhaps bring some kind of expertise to the Conservation Commission specific. I know of one of the associates who's very good at grant writing, and they want her to be, associate to the Conservation Commission because of various things they're doing. Another one is an environmentalist and has a great deal of knowledge. They want her to be available for things, but they don't necessarily expect her to attend every meeting, and they've had different associates over time. But that's the difference between an alternate and associate. The other thing I've discovered, just let me finish real quick, is that I asked you the question today, does the planning board have anything that says this is the composition of the planning board, this is the mission of the planning board, these are the frequencies of meetings, the responsibilities, et cetera, and there isn't anything.
Is there anything on the website either?
There's no, it doesn't exist, to the best of my knowledge.
Wouldn't that be our charge that's given to us by the select board?
Bylaws and charge are two different things.
Okay, thank you.
That was pointed out to me
Okay.
today. And then, and we know that the town is undergoing, as we are with the zoning bylaws, the town is undergoing an immense review of just general bylaws. So I don't know if this should be brought up with, you've been on the planning board for a number of years. Did you ever have bylaws to follow? No? Did you ever, could you reference anything?
Not other than the town bylaw.
Yeah, well, the zoning bylaws.
Zoning bylaw.
That's specific to those activities,
I
but not to the
didn't have
composition.
I didn't have a handbook, no.
Yeah.
In fact, I
no.
didn't have one in Northampton either.
Really? They never had no, okay. So anyway, that's what I found out. So if we want, we can build in, and there's one little tiny sentence that's attached to the Council on Aging Board that says they have alternate members, and that's all it is, it's a sentence. There is an alternate. It doesn't say anything about their responsibilities, the frequency of meetings. It has to be appointed by the select board, that is one thing it says. It has to be appointed by the select board. So it's not an elected position, it's an appointed position. So that is something we could
But
consider.
so it sounds then it's gonna be a general bylaw.
Yes. Unless we built it into our zoning
Now,
bylaws.
does that have to go through public hearing too, I would
I
imagine?
don't know about, well, maybe, yeah, public hearing and town
To
meeting.
create,
And
to
town
create that
Yep.
on the board.
So I was hoping Larry would shed some light on that tonight himself. He's not here to do that.
Well, I invite you to,
What's Larry's role? I know he's a consultant, but what is his job title? How
He-
did he become consultant?
Larry Smith used to be the town planner in Westfield and Northampton over the years, and then he went to, his final job was with PVPC as a land use planner. And he's our board consultant on major issues, subdivisions particularly. But the zoning bylaws, which we started over 2 years ago to revise, we're up to like chapter 10 or 11 out of 20. So we're trying to get them updated before I pass it from this earth.
Oh, shit.
Well, there's been a lot of things that
Seriously,
got in
that's,
the
you
way.
know, it's a lot, and it's.
I know you've been working on it. I'm not trying to
It's just
downplay it.
Because they hadn't been revised since 72 or something, and even then, there were minor changes to it, so I just would like to get it behind us.
Larry's been tremendous when he's been available, but he's had periods of times when he was not in the local area, and then COVID affected a lot of us, and it's part of it.
But we need that type of expertise, Joy, because I'm not a professional planner, we have engineers on the board, and we have
We have a nurse.
we have
on the
lay
board as
people.
well.
That's good.
So,
That's good.
so in absent a planning department, where you had, when I came from Northampton, the planning department did all of that. And the board, the planning department said, here, this has all been reviewed and everything else, and the board really didn't have too much to do. In this town, you've got to hire contractors if you don't have the expertise. Now, the exception to that rule, who was one of the best ones that I served under, was John Furman in town. John, being from VHB, and so, he was so good at it, we didn't need a consultant because he had presented at so many town meetings and city halls in his profession that he knew land use planning like the back of his hand, so. Now we have to pay.
That's the case for a lot of boards in town.
Hmm.
The Conservation Commission, they felt like having to hire outside consultants. We're not all, they weren't all wetland scientists. So now-
Right
No,
now,
but thank you, I just
Right.
didn't, his name was new to me. So
yeah,
thank you for clarifying.
he's been a great help to us. He's a very intelligent guy.
So as far as quickly, committee reports, so the Open Space Committee continues to carry out the charge. You can note in the master plan, master plan specific in the update, that, identifying properties for conservation and then working with landowners is something that the town said is one of their top 3 priorities. So that's been happening, and we've been working with Kestrel Land Trust. Kestrel has told me that they hope to do some major projects with us in the next year or so. Kestrel has been working in other areas within Hampshire County, other kinds of communities. But Mark Walmsley and I are meeting with one landowner at the end of the summer, finally found a date that worked. And then their executive director is looking to kind of tour our town, look at the beautiful spaces we have, and just make sure we understand what the goals of the landowners are and what do they want to do long-term. Some of them may want to look at development for their properties, and others.
Where do all their funds come from?
Kestrel's?
Is it an endowment?
It's a 501c3, so it's, people do make significant contributions. Yeah.
Where do they get all their money, though? Where's it come from?
They have some big donors.
Yeah.
They have some super big donors. And then, I don't know if they have some federal funding. They might, as a land trust, I don't know.
Geez, they've done a lot of land acquisitions and.
They did the largest
Hammer.
one in the state, the Cowles, C-O-W-L-S.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. We're kind of like laying low a little bit. We're not meeting in August, mainly because I'm not around in August this year. And we'll meet again, but definitely want to bring you up to date about the things that we've done, Joy, if you're going to be, part of that, that'll be great. What else is the other one?
Speaking-
Oh, CPC, there really isn't anything to report on at this point.
Speaking of August, I'm planning on doing the third meeting in August, the 18th. Is everybody in town?
I'm in town, but I've already committed something else.
I'll probably be back by then.
The 18th is good. I saw there's a meeting scheduled for the 1st of September. I am out of town that last week of August / first week,
Yeah, we meet, typically, Sarah, our meetings are the 1st and 3rd,
yeah.
but in July and August, we only meet once, and to be honest with you, this is the most I've had for an agenda in weeks. Those 3 building permits were the first 3 signed off on since probably last winter. I hadn't, and I'm sure it was, like Mark was saying, the construction costs and the building materials. So there hasn't been a lot of action.
As a new member tip, you can add the calendar to your calendar.
Oh, from the
And
lifestyle.
when he adds the meetings, it'll automatically populate in your
Okay.
calendar.
I'll check that
And
out.
do you know how to get notices out of my town government? So if he makes some kind of an alteration and you sign up to get notices, it'll pop it into your
Okay,
email.
I haven't done that, but I'll go
Is-
check it out. So.
Do you want to meet before that? Because I could probably do the 11th if you want to get back here. But you know what I'd like to do? Let me hold off on that. Is the 11th good for everybody?
11th of August?
Yeah.
It is if you want to Zoom it, because I can Zoom. I will be out of town, but I could Zoom from where I am, but if it's going to be live, we can't. And we can Zoom until next April, according to the governor.
Yeah, right. Well, again, that's another good point you bring up. I got to wait because I want to make sure Larry's going to be available, given the situation that he was faced with tonight and see
Sure.
his. But
the next meeting date.
Do you have a commitment?
See why I don't want to be chairman?
The 18th or the 11th?
No, we were just talking about, we were talking about something else other than the 18th.
We haven't gotten a lot of permits.
No. Oh, my God.
Oh, let's watch the videotape, rewind it.
What was it?
Zoom versus live?
Zoom.
Oh, yeah.
Zoom.
Thanks, Sarah. Thank you. Just made me close.
Did you just say that?
What is everyone's opinion? I know it was pretty convenient not having to get up and leave the comforts of home and jump in. What's your thoughts on that? Personally, Larry requested in person because of the type of material we gotta cover. It's
Yeah.
just easier for him. But I mean, if he's not gonna be available on certain meetings, do you still want him Zoom or do you wanna come in person?
I have an opinion. No, it's just my personal opinion. At first, I really liked Zoom because it was convenient, but I'm happy that I'm here tonight and I'm seeing you all in person because sometimes in Zoom, it's not easy to convey emotion and what you're trying to say. And when you're looking at someone in the eye, you know, it's much easier to communicate. So I actually feel that since you have newer members, since this is, I think, the first meeting I've ever been in person for the planning board, it's a good thing to have it in person.
All right, let me put it this way then. If there's a slight agenda, but yet
Yeah.
like there's a couple of building permits or there's an A&R, and that's all we have,
Mhm.
does it constitute us just coming together for a short?
I'm going to say I agree with Dan wholeheartedly that in person, there's a whole element that comes out of it. And that's always been my professional opinion. But on the other hand, if you wanted me to be present and I was someplace, I could be present in a Zoom meeting, but I couldn't be present because I wasn't in the town of Southampton at the time, then you'd have to make a decision. So I think what I'm coming out with is, why don't we take, based on the agenda, based on, whether there's gonna be a live piece, and certainly get together on a periodic basis, so we have a relationship. But that's just my opinion on it. If you wanted to do it on the 18th of August in order for Larry to, can we do it both? Or can you only do one?
Hybrid?
Yeah, hybrid. Can we do a Zoom? Can you Zoom me in but still be live here? I don't
You
know
could-
if that.
Yeah, I'm doing a webinar next week for new select board persons to talk about that.
Okay.
So I'll let you know.
And then I think we have to ask Ed if it's
Yeah,
allowed.
for sure.
Oh, you
I'll
mean the
bet you could.
legalities of
I'll
it,
bet you
but not the
could.
technical
That way there,
ability.
yeah, I'll think
Yeah,
it's good.
because if you guys are streaming it through Easthampton Media, you would also want to be able to at least hear whoever is on
Yeah.
Zoom.
Maybe my video, my face, hardly need to see it anyway, but if that wouldn't be present, but I could hear what was going on, and if I had a comment or a question, could I ask it? Those are the two things.
Oh,
the
well,
audio-
yeah.
technically we can make it happen. I just don't know if it's legal.
Sit your laptop.
Massachusetts knows if it's legally.
Oh, I see.
Like, I don't know.
I would think so, don't you? If,
I don't
if
know
it's
about-
live and you're
Yeah.
you're in the meeting.
Considering Zoom is legal,
Right.
the question is hybrid
Is
legal?
hybrid legal, yeah.
And
Hybrid's
In my
great.
personal opinion, making it as easily accessible to everyone in the public is the most of the utmost importance. And if you have to do it by doing that hybrid,
And flip this away, flip the question differently. What if I had an immune disorder and I couldn't be publicly present with people? What if there's a medical reason? Therefore, I'm on the board, I should be able to be a participant, and I would have to Zoom. So I think that's where it's probably legal. Would you ask the question that way?
Mhm.
I don't know, but I would get back to you on that question.
Boy, it's gonna be good to have her with all these guys.
We just assign.
Someday I'll show up and I'll be the only one here. Everybody else will be on Zoom.
We wouldn't do that to you.
Paul?
Hi, everybody, what the hell did I come out for? Oh, dear. Anyone else got any other information they'd like to share tonight? So, for now, we'll do the 18th Did I
We'll
s-
do the 18th of August?
Yeah, I'll do that, and let me see where Larry's at, and, but you said you weren't around for the 11th
I have
either,
already made a commitment for that night.
for the 11th, right,
No, for the 18th.
for the 18th, how about
But I
the,
can be here for the 11th if I can Zoom, because
okay,
I'll be in Vermont.
let me check with him. And then, we'll go from there.
I had a very basic question for Larry that you could probably just ask him whenever you're talking to him. My question is, did he base the floodplain bylaw off of the Massachusetts 2020 model floodplain bylaw? Because that's kind of what I reviewed it against, and I just want to make sure,
All I can do is assume that he did.
yeah, you know, that's the state's latest and greatest model for a floodplain bylaw, so hope we start with that.
Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll move to adjourn.
Second?
Motion made and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you, Joy, for
Yeah.
being patient and being a good listener.
Can we turn this off?
Is there a period of time you have to raise your hand until it turns off?
We're adjourned, thank you.